Hey guys, I just wanted to bring an opinion piece to you, and I'm not, expecting that everyone's going to agree with me on this position, but it's been something that I've been thinking on, thinking about, and I want you to leave in the comments, your own thoughts and your position after the video. Now, what is it that I want to talk about is pretty much why I think Spider-Man, the franchise itself, Marvel Spider-Man, should come to the PC platform. Now, what are my reasons for saying that? I'm going to give 3 reasons, and one of them is going to apply to gamers, one is going to apply to Sony themselves, and the other one is actually going to apply to Microsoft, because on the Windows platform, Microsoft actually, they own the platform that Steam runs on and all that stuff. But before we go into that, I have my infamous notepad. I wrote down some data that I was able to research, and this data is actually very telling. So I guess it will influence, some of the things that I have to say. So, regarding gamers, the first reason I think the Marvel Spider-Man should come to the PC platform is, one, for the gamers. Number one, there's 67% of Americans who play video games, according to a 2018 report, and 52% of that 67% plays on PC. Now, 43% play on console as well. Now, it seems like the number is really high, but you also have to take into consideration that about 29% have about 3 or more devices, and another 29% have 2 devices, while 41% of this whole mix has only 1 console. Now, the 1 console that that they have, you have to then split that into people who have Xbox, people who have the PlayStation, people who use the Switch, or people who use the other Nintendo games. Also, this is not even taking into account those who actually play the handhelds and all the others. There are also numbers for those. And if you're looking for the report, go to I'm going to leave the link for you guys so you guys can actually see how I actually had to get this report. You have to sign up and give them your email, and they'll send it for you. So first of all, the fact that there are a lot more players that are playing on console or on PC, or who own a gaming PC, I think is an advantage to be able to, just serve the gaming community at large. So that is the first reason. The gaming community always appreciates a good and well-made game, and if Sony wants to still stick with the exclusives and stick with the consoles, then that's definitely fine, but once in a while, it's nice for them to actually do console exclusives. Now, they've done console exclusives, in the past. They've done it with Street Fighter, they've done it with some other games, and I think Marvel Spider-Man should not be one outlier that doesn't get to come on the PC platform. Now, I can understand also that, Sony wants to sell consoles, because I can tell you for sure that, within the statistics of how many people or how many consoles that Sony has sold, I know one person that I know personally that's actually a PC gamer that actually went and bought a PS4 Pro, because this Spider-Man game was pretty much the breaking point. Now, there was also God of War. There were also some other game titles that I'm sure that, my buddy had also been eyeing. But when Spider-Man came out, always being a Spider-Man fan, he went and picked himself up a PlayStation Pro console. Now, there's nothing wrong with Sony wanting to sell consoles. They have to be competitive. I mean, at their doorstep is Nintendo, who's pretty much taking over Japan. And then you have, Xbox in Americas here and some parts of Europe, who's also fighting for the market share. So Sony has to be competitive, and so putting out good IPs like this is actually pretty good. Nonetheless, eventually this is all going to, pretty much die down, and I feel like to serve the gamers, Sony needs to do it. Now, the second reason is to gain gamers' confidence. So my first reason was that you have a high number of gamers, a huge number of PC gamers that are out there. And then the second reason is for Sony to actually win player confidence. Now, this is Sony's advantage, and so I said I was going to give one reason for the players, one reason for Sony, so here's my Sony reason. Sony can take this game, put it on the PC platform, and win the hearts of PC people. Now, they can delay the release for the PC way down the line. Whether or not it sends a message that, if you wait long enough, Sony's going to put it on PC, I don't think that's the case. Sometimes, many PC gamers are willing to say, all right, we're going to buy a console just to play a particular game or a particular set of games. And Sony strategically, I think, waited for this release cycle, which is toward the end of this console generation cycle, to put out all these good games, because I think they wanted to win the player confidence. I think that's exactly what they wanted to do. Now, they can also stretch their reach and win some of the Microsoft, community on the PC side and bring them in, because if they start releasing some new console exclusives for the next generation, they're going to need an unreached market, which is in the PC community, to tap out of. Now, whether or not PC gamers say they don't want to buy a console or to play a game or not, that's a prerogative. PC gamers or whoever they are, gamers in general, will play a good game. It doesn't matter if it's on console or it's on PC. Some may or may not go back to buying a console regardless of whatever exclusive comes out, and that's also their prerogative. But there are some who are willing to actually say, you know what, I'll add this to my collection. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think for Sony, the market advantage is actually in making that play right now. I think that's really important for them. And finally, the third point that I'm going to harp on is on Xbox's side. And I wrote this down. And this, if Sony makes this move, especially with a game like this, or if they bring out maybe God of War on PC, which God of War has always been a console exclusive, so I don't really want to touch that one. Spider-Man has come on PC in some forms or the other, so that's why I'm harping on Spider-Man. If they move this direction, I think this is going to force Xbox out of the wherever it is that they're hiding and make them to be much more competitive. Because the past few months we saw Microsoft accusing Sony of not letting people have crossplay. Whatever your positions on that may be, that's you have the right to reserve those positions on that matter. To me, I don't think a lot of gamers actually care about crossplay, honestly, right now. Even though it will be a good advancement, because right now it's happening on Xbox and Nintendo on certain games, and it's also happening on PC and PlayStation on some other games. And so even though it's going to be a great advancement for the gaming community at large, I still think Microsoft needs to be competitive to serve its own consumer base on the Xbox side with some really good exclusives. So if Sony can start, making these moves, I think Microsoft is going to eventually wake up. Now, Microsoft has taken some steps and is still taking some steps, but we don't know the seriousness of what it is that they're actually doing. In fact, this holiday season, they said, Crackdown was not needed because there were a lot of AAA titles. They're right in a sense, but I don't think people are waiting for AAA titles on the Xbox, as much as they're expecting the console exclusives. The console exclusives are the things that both consoles actually used to sell. They were selling points for some of the consoles, and so if Microsoft hasn't gotten itself together, I don't see any reason for them to still be in the market here playing this this console game. They need to step it up. I know they want to make money and I know they want to conserve money, but they need to get up and compete. And Sony, I think, is going to force their hands. And in all, to wrap up all of this, competition is a good thing. If you let one company dominate the market, they're going to dominate the market and they're going to call the shots. If you put multiple players in the market, then everybody has to now serve their customers, and customer service starts to win. The day and age that we're in, it's a service industry. Everything is a service these days. And if a company is not serving its customer base, they're going to face a lot of backlash. You're going to face a lot of boycotting. And that's what EA is going through right now. They're not serving their communities, and so they're eventually going to get those backlash, and even 2K, all the other the gaming developers that are making these mistakes and not serving their community games and serving them other underhanded predatory practices, they're going to eventually go out of business, or they're going to change their ways. So these are my reasons for wanting the Spider-Man game to come to the PC platform. Please leave your comments, let me know. Let's have a discussion. This channel is designed for us to talk about these issues that is not necessarily sensational. So video may not get a lot of views. So if you watch the video, hit the like button if you did, or hit the dislike button, so that we'll know what format we need to use to present information like this. Thank you very much for your time and your audience. I guess I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.